Denver Broncos Mile High View, no commercials, no bullshit. What a fucking relief it was to see something besides lethargic quarterback play. Brandon Allen hands the balls back to the Denver Broncos, and Rich Scangarello in particular, and puts a dagger right into Elway's heart. And I'll tell you why. It's because this had to have been a Scangarello. He must have been pounding the table to bring Allen in. And you have to admit, it was a relief to not see lethargic football. In all defense to Joe Flacco, it was Elway's decision to bring an immobile quarterback into a team that was struggling with the offensive line and pass protection. Why would you do that? They could have, like I said, kept Case Keenum, bring in Allen as well. Sure, why not? You know? And I'll tell you what, right now, it doesn't really even look that good for Locke, which is another Elway pick. He's really got a lot going against him. Allen, and again, in Locke's defense, he never played in the NFL before where Allen's got experience. That's why they had to bring him in. But all I've ever asked, and if you've been listening to me from the beginning, all I've ever asked is smart quarterback play. That will take you so much further than a bunch of boneheaded bullshit and hanging on to the ball and all this. I don't give a fuck about Allen's self-sacks. Guess what? Boom, you get up, you live another day. You're not taking an injury. And it was smart play on this guy. This guy is a smart quarterback. Now, is he going to be a starting NFL quarterback? Probably not. I don't know why not. I mean, why do we condemn these people when they show that they can play the game? They can play the game at a high level. I realize it was the 2-and-whatever Cleveland Browns, but the Browns still have quite a bit of talent on defense, and Allen was faced with, some tough situations that he overcame, especially for a guy that never even played with this group before. So you got to give the guy credit for that, getting off the bench. Do I know he couldn't be look at the quarterback in Baltimore, in Indianapolis. Did anybody really expect that he's going to could be an NFL quarterback? Who knows? He's a bit short, but the bottom line is, at least you have a competent backup. If you do finally get this so-called franchise, and I just hate it, a guy we call a franchise who hasn't even proven himself, where you have somebody like Allen proving themselves all the time, and be ashamed to let that go. But but you can't bring a guy that's slower than Craig Morton in and expect him to do much. But basically, Allen did what Joe Flacco was pounding the table about getting aggressive. And I'll give Scangarello this. I don't totally blame Scangarello for basically cutting the balls off the offense, because I think that was out of his control. I look up at the booth and I see John Elway in the play-by-play. And I can only assume that, because Scangarello was very aggressive in the beginning, that the word came from all high to not be aggressive until Flacco, and that's one thing Flacco did bring. Flacco brought a voice, a voice that said, you got to knock off and I think that was to Elway. I don't think it was to Scangarello. I think that was to Elway. Now I want to shift gears and talk about Chris Harris Jr. I'm watching Odell Beckham just basically turn Chris Harris Jr. around inside out. And quite frankly, he did beat him. But, for whatever reason, Mayfield didn't go in that direction. And you have to ask this question, is Harris Jr. really a big 4-year contract guy, or is he more like a 2-year contract? Because quite frankly, in the next couple of years, I don't even think he could cover Sutton. I don't think Harris could dominate covering Sutton. I think Sutton would do the same thing to him in the next couple of years. So, again, I think we still need help in that position. I think we need to draft big in that position, high in that position. get somebody big time at, because I honestly don't think that Harris Jr. is worth a 4-year contract, perhaps a 2-year, and that I think is kind of stretching it. So I just wanted to mention that when Harris went up against Beckham Jr., it definitely showed his where he is, where Beckham is, and where he is, and so I just want to mention that. But this is the Denver Broncos. I think everybody was waiting to see, and I chalk this whole idea of bringing Joe Flacco in squarely on John Elway. But what really pisses me off was all the voices, the same tired voices we heard over and over and over again, going along with this, before we even got Joe Flacco, starting it all up. And there's a few of us saying, you're out of your fucking mind. And not even, perhaps on a different team, Joe Flacco could have been a lot better. And then I think in Joe Flacco's defense too, by cutting the balls off the offense and not getting aggressive, also hurt Joe Flacco as well. But you can't bring in a quarterback. You cannot do it. You cannot bring in a quarterback who basically has his feet in cement shoes, is a statue, it was so refreshing just to see Allen, his wheels, and that's why I said we should have kept Case Keenum. I had no problem having them get a guy like Allen, bringing him in as well. But you got to bring mobility into this style of offense. You cannot have, I just don't know what Elway thinks half the time. Now his pick, Locke, which, my opinion, it's just me, I don't think the coaching staff was that they were high on him. And again, to be all fair to Locke, he's up against, fair or not fair, he is up against a wall now if Allen continues to play well, because he's going to be asked to jump in, which is not fair. It really isn't fair for him, and compete at a high level. Allen does have much more NFL, he's been around it a lot longer. But maybe, Locke can learn, maybe that this is a good combination to keep Locke. But again, I am still under the belief that Locke is a package deal to go up and get another quarterback. So another one of John Elway's hatched plans here, it seems like. But anyway, great game. This is what we've been waiting for. To see the young players all come up and start rising. I think the Broncos are still a long way, from being a contender. I think there's a base anyway starting to show up. I don't believe that Joe Flacco is going to be. It would just be suicide for Elway to put Joe Flacco back. I think it's done. I think Brandon Allen basically just put a dagger into his heart too, into Flacco's heart. But again, one of the upsides of bringing Flacco that I brought in, with all my complaints about bringing Flacco in, was the fact that he does bring NFL experience. He can help people like Allen, who had to prepare on a short notice, and it gave these guys some stability. That definitely does go a long way. But so anyway. Congratulations.